I am making the Easter pie as my grandmother made it from Brindisi di Montagna in Basilicata. Right now I'm making the dough, which consists of about 7 eggs, 1 cup of flour, less than how many eggs you use, 1/4 cup of water, and some salt. And it's prepared as you would prepare noodle dough, except that in this case you're adding a little oil. After I make the dough, I'm spreading it out on this pan, and I am dividing my ricotta in half. Half will go on the bottom, and then I alternate with my hard-boiled egg. This is farmer's cheese or tonneau cheese, unsalted, or also called basket cheese, Italian sweet sausage, and Lucatelli cheese. Just alternate all that on the bottom. Then when I prepare the top half of the dough, I will spread that with the rest of the ricotta and flip it over. And at that stage, I'll show you how we put it together again. So that's so much for now. Macaroni machine, because it's necessary to roll this out. I always measure out how much flour I think I'll use so that I don't overdo it. I beat it up like this first and then put it on the board rather than make the well, which is what they traditionally did. I just find it to be easier this way. This is for the future reference of all my daughters and daughter-in-law if they ever decide to carry on the tradition of making the Easter pie, which would not be Easter without it. Remember, I told you that usually your dough works out to have 1 cup of flour less than how many eggs you use. So we're pretty safe in measuring it and knowing exactly what we're putting in rather than guesswork. Now once it got to the consistency where I could turn it out here, I'm going to knead it, and if it still feels a little sticky, I could just add from the remaining flour. Get it nice and smooth. When you touch it lightly, it should start springing back, so you can see that this is almost ready. Now this does beat writing it down in the recipe, so you could actually see what's being done. It's nice to organize everything first, so that once the dough is ready, you don't have to go crazy with dough drying out and you're not prepared. This could be taken away now. The main ingredient that I forgot is while you're doing this, you should be drinking a glass of wine.
Say that again?
While you're doing this, you should be drinking a glass of wine, if someone would get that for me.
Olé.
Salute to Helgus. Now I think this has just about enough, so I will cut this dough in half, start rolling it out. That's the tricky part. Now if you want to save Joe so you don't stay in the same scenery, you could just cut it off until I cut the dough, because I have this for about 5 minutes until it's nice and smooth. Cut it in half. And it may still need a little more, but as you can see, the flour worked out almost to the amount that I told you about. So I will just cover this until I'm ready to use it. And as I told you, the most important ingredient is a glass of wine, which you can taste with a little bit of cheese, a little bit of that, a little ricotta, but we can't eat the sausage, and a salute.
Salute.
To all my grandparents who made the pie. Especially to Catalina, Spania, and to Catalina. I always run out of space. I don't want to knock my wine over. And now I'm ready to roll this piece of dough. The tricky part. Now if you want to cut off, Joe. Now we need more flour for the bottom of the board when we're rolling out. Still all part of that. Now I'm rolling this out. Of course, unlike my grandmother who seemed to get into a perfect circle, that doesn't happen. However, when the pie is put together, you know what to do, right? So I'll get this to a certain point before I start flipping it to get it nice and smooth and thinner than this. So we're getting there. Now we're not too far away from the size of the pan. Use a little thinner. The voice in the background. Find that my broiler pan, as you can see, works out fine for the pie. Not too deep, but just enough to avoid the oil spilling all over your oven. It does make a mess. So this dough is now the size that is right for the bottom of the pie. So now I proceed to put this ricotta in half. And the best tool God ever gave you was your hand, provided it's clean. Then I'm going to start spreading that on the bottom. Like this. Just get that all spread in there. And when it's spread out, I'll start alternating the other ingredients. I like more, you'll need more cheese on the bottom than on the top, so if you see it's necessary to swipe a little more, then do that. As I'm doing right now. It's delicious looking already, isn't it? What was once classified as peasant food has now become very expensive gourmet. The pie is becoming expensive to make, but certainly it's worth it. Okay, so now I'm going to alternate my ingredients, and I'm going to have to stop a minute to wash my hands. And now I am ready to alternate